Hi everybody, my name is Harry Jacobs and I am the North of 60 Gamer, and welcome to the North of 60 Gaming channel. And today is another Tuesday. It is August 3rd, 2021. I can't believe how quickly the summer goes here in Yellowknife Northwest Territories here up in the subarctic of Canada. Though you would not know it because of the heat wave that we had over the weekend. We went to 32 degrees Celsius. August 1st was a record here for 30 degrees Celsius. For those who live in Arizona and warmer climates, to you that is nothing. Up here, our normal summer is around 20, 21 degrees Celsius. So we are having to weather in the Fahrenheit range of 80 to 90 degrees, where normally we're in the 65 to 75 degree range, and we were sweltering. So I didn't do a lot of gaming over the weekend. I did get a little bit of Dungeons of Infinity in yesterday afternoon, but I got to tell you, I sort of bailed, halfway through it because I just could not take the heat. The house itself was well over 32, 33 degrees because I have no air conditions, and the fans were not working whatsoever. However, we're not here to discuss my life. Well, I kind of am, because this is part of what I do, and I like to stress that I am part of the northern community that we live in. And so first, a couple of announcements. First, Yellowknife Larping. It's going to meet next weekend on August 14th. If you are interested, please contact via the Facebook, and that Facebook page will be down and listed in the comment section. Please give Ray or Brent a quick hello and say, can I come and play? They do have regular practices. I think it's Tuesday night, but I'm not quite sure 100% where it is. I think it's down by the Old Town. If you're in Yellowknife, you'll know where Old Town is. If not, use Google and take a look at Yellowknife. August 7th will be the next meeting of the Ptarmicon Game Night. Last week was the first, or 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago now, was the first meeting of the Ptarmicon Game Night, and it was wonderful to be there and play games. I played Terraforming Mars, and we played with the big box expansion, which isn't really an expansion, it's just all the plastic bits that come very nicely in that big box. Yes, I've heard different things about it. Yes, there are some wonderful stuff on Etsy, but I don't have any of that, so I bought the big box. And really, if you like quality of life, it gives you a high quality of life. I did put the promo cards in, though I'm getting a lot of promo cards in there. I'm going to have to start backing them out a little bit. We had a little struggle through that game. Be that as it may, Terraforming Mars is still one of my favorite games, and it is one of those games that I get asked for time and time again. I'm just leaning over to make sure I'm actually recording this. To talk a little bit, so this is a little light on Kickstarter this week, and that's starting to concern me a little bit. I think Kickstarter is starting to slow down from some of the bigger campaigns, and not to say there aren't good campaigns out there. I've picked out 4 or 5 campaigns that sort of caught my eye, not necessarily in a positive way, though one is nice and the rest are kind of like, yeah, let me show you this. But a couple of trends I'm seeing is, one, shipping trends. They're starting not to put shipping rates. This scares me a little bit being in Canada, because Canada tends to have a fairly high shipping rate. Now, compared to other places in the world, like Australia and the UK, shipping rates are not as high. It's usually about half of what they pay, but we are usually twice of what they pay in the US. So I'm getting a little scared when I'm starting to see games come out and they say, here's these wonderful games, but we don't know what's going on with shipping. We don't know what the price of those containers are. In fact, one of the Kickstarter sent a note around the other day saying, well, when we first priced this Kickstarter campaign, it was $2,000 for a 20-foot 20-foot container, sea can. Now it was $17,000, and they're going, now may have to eat that cost. And there are other things that are going on too. The manufacturing that's going on, the brownouts in China, and not to say that this is not in control of what the designers and publishers are trying to do here. I mean, they do want to deliver their games, but there are extenuating circumstances that seem to be putting a lot of pressure on campaigns. Now, I'd rather see campaigns come later and sort of say, let's rethink how we do this. but some of the trends, like, we're not going to really estimate those costs. A good project manager, I should be a little bit clear. I'm going to have to take some of that out. But as a project manager and a business analyst, part of what I do is estimates. And sometimes you got to bite the bullet, and you've got to be up there and be honest with your folks. And if it's going to be 3 or 4 times higher than what you say it is, say it. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I may or may not pledge. I mean, if you tell me it's a $40 game, it's going to cost me $40 shipping, pretty much I'm out. I mean, it's not an $80 game. I'll just wait till it's retail. You better be offering me some good stretch goals at $40 to make it interesting for me to pay $40 in shipping. And I've seen that a number of times. Hey, it's a 40, 50 euro game and it's 35 euros to ship. No, thank you. So that's one trend that kind of I'm getting a little bit worried about, is just that how much is shipping, and the trend not to put it in there now. I've also seen some trends around production schedules. Now, this is very understandable. Well, we don't know. That's becoming, we've talked to the manufacturers and we just don't know anymore. We can put these estimates in and we're going to say, oh, well, I just saw one today and we're going to deliver this by November 2021. And I'm going like, it's going to production in August 2021. And I'm looking at it going like, you're putting a Kickstarter up. You're telling me it's going out this month to production and you're going to deliver by November? Oh, come on. Listen, I've done Kickstarters for 5 years. I have never seen Kickstarters delivered on time, except for maybe 2 or 3 times. And I think once it was actually before the estimate. So out of the 100 or so Kickstarters I've done, I think it was 120, less than 1 to 2% have delivered on time or better. So, you know what, 98% of the time, I'm not going to believe you. And in fact, I will tell you, there's a couple games that are approaching 2 and 3 years now. And again, some of this is not their fault. COVID reared its ugly head and affected everything and will continue to affect probably for a year or 2 yet. They're saying 4th wave. So be prepared for more shipping problems and more production problems. I'm also seeing a trend in them walking away from risk. And this is something that's a big issue with me. When I am putting my money into a Kickstarter, I am not a purchaser going to my FLGS and saying I'm buying a game that's on a shelf. I am part of your project. I am a stakeholder in your project. And taking my money and then telling me, well, there's a lot of risk here. We can't guarantee you anything. And in fact, if we can't really deliver, that's okay. We're going to do our best. And I get that, do our best. Kickstarter's risky. So far, I've been lucky in those 120 Kickstarters that I have gotten my games eventually. I only have really one long game out that's outstanding. And they're starting to get better at the communications. And they were lagging behind when COVID hit, and they're still playing catch up. And it was just a reprint of a game, and I'm not mentioning it at all. But anyway, so one of them is like, okay, well, we can't, if you don't get in touch with us within 30 days of a bad piece, we're not replacing anything. Well, wait a minute here. So you're telling me you're not going to stand by a game that has a problem? I've seen that even in some of, I think Asmodee has gotten into that, or one of them has gotten into that, where they said, well, if you buy a game from us, and if you buy it, we're just not going to give you any replacement parts, or give you options for replacement parts. And I'm going like, well, you mean I got to buy a whole new game to find a replacement part? Now that would really suck, to have to buy a second game of something to replace a part that you should be replacing. So if you're only going to guarantee for 30 days, and I'll tell you, there have been some great companies out there. I had a problem with Crusaders, Thy Will Be Done. And I said, well, there's a couple. They had it replaced. Bang. Same with Tapestry. Bang. It was good. I mean, some of these are excelling customer service, and some of them are now saying, well, I just can't do it anymore. We don't want to have that customer service aspect of this. And I'm not seeing this widespread, thankfully, but I'm afraid that it might get more widespread. So these are just some trends I'm seeing. As a project manager and business analyst, I think that a project really should be coming at it with a better project management and about a better business analysis of what they are doing, how they're delivering, and the project management. And I've seen success. I'd love to see those successful projects on Kickstarter that say, here's our project manager. That means they're paying attention to the little things, which means us, the consumer. And I am a backer. I am a stakeholder. I am not a retail person who's coming to Kickstarter to buy something. I am backing your product. And I deserve something, at least in the way of communications. That is all I'm going to say about this today. Now, one of the things I enjoy, and you've seen me post them more and more later, is dogs. And I've come across a dog lover in the States who has recently gone around to all the 48 states, mainland states, in a van, promoting and adopting dogs from local SPCAs or shelters. The Asher House. So the Asher House is run by Lee Asher. And this journey, and I'm just reading it off his website, and please go to his website, is www.theasherhouse.com. If you love dogs as much as I do, and I do have dogs, I have 6 of them, and I do foster. In fact, my foster is going off a little later after I have a meeting, and he's going to Victoria, BC, and he's being adopted out by a veterinarian down there because the veterinarian wanted a Malamute, and this Malamute is a wonderful boy, and I really wish we could have kept him, but unfortunately we just adopted again just last year, and we have a full house of 6 dogs of our own. So he travels from state to state with his rescue dogs in a converted schoolie bus, encouraging and promoting animal shelters and humane societies across the nations. He's hosting events where shelter dogs are showcased in a positive light, giving them a chance, an opportunity to find a loving home. I have to respect this gentleman. He puts it all out there. I just tripped across one of his videos on YouTube. I love watching dog videos because I foster dogs, as you know, and I feel that this is just part of my way of giving back to the community that I live in, which is Yellowknife Northwest Territories, and we have a very active NWT SPCA. And I've heard the controversy about various SPCAs. Our SPCA is a no-kill shelter. The president, vice president, and who are non-paying paid people are in there all the time. I mean, they work in there tirelessly to rescue the dogs, help our communities, and we have 37 communities here in the Northwest Territories, all of which really don't all treat their dogs as well as they could. We have a few communities that have been taught and have done well with the SPCA, and we go in there with vets, and we spay, and we neuter, and we have clinics, and we go into these communities, and we really help to educate them about dogs. My big fear of our last foster, and I had that sentiment to the foster program lead, was that I didn't want him to go back to the community. Now, they were talking about having him sent back to the community, but the community didn't claim him, which was good because community dogs just go back out and they go back outside and they don't take care of these dogs. They fend for themselves, or people just throw food, and they either get cold eventually when the community gets enough, they just go out and shoot them, or they starve to death, they get killed by bears or wolves, any of those types of things. So please have a look at the Asher House, watch some of his videos. Maybe if you're in the US, donate to him. I'm gonna put some pictures up. I love the way he looks at his dogs. I mean, he treats them as family. I gotta admit, I do the same thing. I treat my dogs as family. And so I have a lot of respect for what he does. And he's doing this full time. He quit his job and he's doing this full time. Become a patron if you can. Donate, buy his stuff. Adopt a dog from a local shelter. Help a rescue society. There's plenty out there, no matter whether you're in the US or in other countries. I have watched some of these videos. Howl of a Dog, Hope for Paws. Help them. Let us help get those dogs off the streets that are on the streets. Let's help dogs find families. It's not their fault they're living on the streets. It's not their fault that they're in the shelters. Let's give them a hand. And that's what I have to say today. So I went a little long-winded, but that's okay. It's a short week for Kickstarter. So please, YK LARPing is going. Contact them. Ptarmicon Game Night's coming up this weekend. Watch those trends in the Kickstarter campaigns and give Lee Asher some money. The Asher House. Look them up. I'm going to put those links in. And we're going to go on to the next Kickstarter version of what we're doing today. I thank you so much. Here we are back for the Kickstarter part. And we're going to start with Excavation Arbitration, the board game. This board game simulates experiences of historical, excluded, and underrepresented students in the journey through higher education. Now, I get that in terms of what is going on today, but will it fly as a game? It's a first-time creator, Cameron Bragg, and she's a program creator for Ignite, an independently run program passionate about advocating for underrepresented students in the classroom. Okay, I wanted to get that out there. So, to me, this is a gamification kind of, we're going to base this on real life to teach you about something. But is it going to be acceptable to the gaming community on a whole? Simulates what's it say? Education Arbitration is a game designed to simulate the journey of historically underrepresented and excluded students at the venture through higher education. The game was originally created in 2019 as a tool to educate and train faculty of higher educational institution and intersectionality of their students and different identity groups. So this was used as an educational tool. I don't think it's going to have an appeal to the overall market. I think that this is not a game that's going to, sorry, Cameron, that people are going to like generally. It has a specific niche, which is educational. You probably would have been better off to probably publish it and try to go to Scholastic or one of those educational publishing companies to help you present your game to them. However, with that being said, one of the interesting things that I read down here was that we were looking for $50,000. And then I come up to the top and they're only looking for 31,000 Canadian. So I'm thinking there's a little bit of a issue here that's saying, well, I really need $50,000 to do this, but I'm only asking for 32. So are you going to go out and risk your money for this? That's a question. Of course, there's nothing here. I mean, that's pretty much it. We really don't have a timeline. We don't really, what's the May 2022 for a simple card game? You'd be better off going to GameCrafter and doing something like that to do this quickly rather than go through a Chinese production and shipping. Just my thoughts on this. Not a particularly good campaign. Sorry, but I wish you all, I mean, this is an important facet of how games can help us with our social interactions and learning about these groups and the way we treat them and the way education is ignored various groups. And I think it's important. Well, I know it's important, but I don't think it's a game that's served here in this forum. But I do hope for success. And that is all I'm going to say about this game because I am down for some crunch time here today. This game I liked. Only it's a war game. It's Granada. It's the last stand of the Moors, 1482 to 1492. It's a two-player game that will decide the outcome in decisive historical episode in less than 4 hours. A typical war games, they're looking for just over $3,000. They've got 6,047 backers. As you know, these are very niche games. So they're appealing to a very small set of group. This is not EU friendly. That means they're probably having it done in the US. It's a $99 game. Again, not unreasonable when you consider the cost of war games in the US is around $100 to $120. But, you know, to me as a game, I'm looking at it going like, unless I have a context and an interest in this particular time frame of war, it would interest me, but I do not. Mine is around World War II. I do like sort of the medieval pike and shot and swords and early guns, which is about another 100 years more, perhaps like the 100-Year Wars. So, but this is just out here. I like to bring to light some of these war games that come up, and here's a war game. Again, it's Granada, the Last Stand of the Moors. I am not backing this, but it is your typical war game. Pirates by Queen Games. As you know, Queen's Games is pretty well known with Fresco and Merlin, the big box editions, both of which you can pick up here. They were looking for 6,200, which is kind of small for Queens. I would think they would be looking for more. But what can I tell you? Right now it's 64. It's a short campaign. It's 11 days. I think it might have been a few days old by the time I've gotten it. It looks like an interesting game. Who doesn't like a pirate game? 3 to 5 players, not my jam. I like one solo games. So this again is not something I'm going to back, but it looks like a pretty decent game. If you come down here, they're really showing off their past games. Made in Europe, key features. We've got some previews. It looks like the components are quite good. So it looks like an interesting game. 80 coins. You know, it's not an expensive game, $35. But really, I get the feeling this is more like, you can buy this game, but you don't get everything else. And they don't tell you, this is one of those things, well, it's a friendly shipping zone. What does that mean? Friendly. And then they're saying, if they lose the package, that's not our problem, if it's not in a friendly zone. So what we're saying is, if we ship it off to you and you want the game and it doesn't get to your door, we don't care. If there's no deluxe version, I don't think, you know what, if there's no deluxe version, I'm going to tell you, wait for retail. Yes, there is no, wait for retail, folks. You can buy the big box game at Fresco. My LGS up here has it. This does not compel me to buy this game at all. I could just wait for retail. Queen's games are very, very good. I don't have any in my collection, but they are well liked. They've created like some 68 games in Kickstarter. So highly successful. They probably didn't even really need to go to Kickstarter. Maybe it's just an awareness campaign. And maybe that's why the goal is only 6,200. Because I can't see them producing a game for a minimum of probably 50 or 60,000. And as you know, most production companies want you to buy 1,000 copies and 64 backers. So I think it's really just a way of sort of building an awareness. And I don't think it belongs on Kickstarter. If it's just doing that, what is it doing here? I don't know. But I'm telling you, go out and just send it off to your FLGS. Somebody's going to buy it. Do some advertising. You know, why come to Kickstarter if you're really not enthusiastic about it? I'm not anyway. Anyway, Earthborne Ranges. This looks good. 284,000 of 125,000. This is a first-time creator. Go right up to the Earthborne Games. First created. This is amazing that he's doubled what he wanted. 2,000, not a problem. It kind of looks interesting. It's a wilderness adventure of the far future. It's a cooperative game. You're going to explore a lush and vibrant world full of natural wonders. I like the artwork, and you know, it looks like it's kind of narrative. Pick something, some interesting artwork. Looks like there's a valley, so there's a map. It's a narrative campaign, an open world narrative campaign. It looks like mainly a card game. There's a core set. Going all in, so 250 ranger cards, valley cards, 175 unique landscape cards, challenge decks, 70 token, and a rebirth campaign. And then you can buy 150, which gives you the core set, card doubler. So I don't know what that means. Just double the number of cards. They're not different, perhaps. You get an expansion, and then you get a playmat add-on. You get deluxe energy coupon token core set, so it looks like plastic. It's a customizable cooperative adventure game set in the wilderness of the far future. You begin by building a deck that reflects your character's personal history. So you build your own decks, perform narrative actions. It looks interesting. It's an open world, so I guess you can go around and explore this map. Huh, looks good. It looks like they're going to try to have regional production. That might be a bit lofty. I think, again, though, there's no money here in the Earthborne as manufactured to determine the campaign. Shipping costs have been much too variable to estimate at this time. Why don't you just tell me $30 and be done with it? I mean, it's really going to depend where the manufacturing. If it's Euro game, it's going to be 30 to 40 euros to get a game over here. It's the US, it's going to be $25. Again, it's becoming more risky, in my opinion, to do Kickstarters of these types of things. And I talked about that. I don't know how much risk I want to take with Kickstarters anymore. And lastly, Excavation Earth. It belongs in a museum. I already have Excavation Earth. I'm going to back this. It's you can see it churning up here. It's going to get its 1,000 backers easily. This is only like the first or second day. It's just an expansion. I love this game. Oh, a new solo mode by the looks of it. Zoo clones. So I'm not quite sure what that means, but we got some metal coins. We got Kickstarter exclusives. We got some gameplay, excavate, market. If you haven't played this game, this is a wonderful game. The solo mode game is really good on this. Even if you haven't backed this before, and you can certainly back this on the... I've gotten the custodian level because I already have it. It's $30. 56 Canadian. If you want it all in, it's $94. If you want the collector edition, I already have the collector edition, so I'm really happy with this. You can play it on Tabletopia, Tabletop Simulator. What's in the box? We've got some printed wooding explorer pawns. We got dual layer museum boards, so this is going to be more interesting. Reverse engineering cards, overlay cards. Wow. It looks like it's going to be a good one, folks. I think this is going to be a great expansion, and I think this is going to bring some real value to this game, making it more valuable. The achievement cards are 25K. They're going to hit that. I would say back it. If you already have Excavation Earth, you might as well block it. But there are retail prices, which means it's going to go to retail. But there are some Kickstarter exclusives, so you know what? Go for it. Canada is only $11 shipping, so I'm not too worried about that. So that's pretty good. And the usual good. See how they've managed to do it. They've estimated the shipping. What was it? $11. So this is a game you could back, and I would back this for sure. Anyway, folks, this is Kickstarter. If you like what you see, back it. If you subscribe, I would love you to subscribe to my channel and get notifications as well. And that's it for me for Kickstarter and coffee. I thank you very much for being here. Goodbye, everybody. See you next time.